Welcome, everyone, to our beautiful podcast, Freelance and Friends.
Yes! Woo!
We are here today with a part two of our work-life balance episode because we just
Yeah,
feel like it's an important
it's a
topic, and we also
it's a
have
big topic.
it is, and we have
Yeah,
very different types of work-life balance too. So
yeah,
we have
yeah.
different perspectives on it. And yeah, I wanted to ask you first, though, how was your day yesterday?
Oh yeah. Well, it was actually really nice. So after we ended our podcast, I opened the shop and like immediately a lot of people stopped by. So it was a really busy day. And
Mm.
then a friend, Kristin, stopped by for a
Oh,
little chat.
nice.
And then like I had planned my day that I knew that the day would be busy, like from podcast to work, and then I was going to pole fitness class, or it wasn't a
Nice.
class, but like a solo session,
Mm.
and it was amazing. I feel so good about yesterday, and
Oh, I'm so glad.
yeah, it feels like I'm back because I
Mm.
had what was it like 2 months off pole fitness, and in December when I did the last course, I got kind of I like started to get sloppy, and I think that
Mm.
because it was December and I was kind of stressed because Christmas is always stressful, and I was a little bit stressed about the shop because I got this space 1st of December. So through
Mm.
December I felt like my mind was scattered and I couldn't really focus on anything in particular. So when I went to pole class, I would just like slip up and I would like injure myself a little bit. I would fall on my face,
Yeah. Oh,
like
that's
hanging
scary.
upside down and just like suddenly just letting go and then
With
like
your
just
legs?
falling. Yeah, with my legs and
Yeah.
everything.
Uh-huh.
And I knew that, like I didn't know it then, but now I know that it was because my head wasn't in the moment. I wasn't focused on what I was doing. So I just got really sloppy.
Mm.
So, and then 2 months I didn't go because the courses were like fully booked. And now it feels like I'm back and I'm like at the place where I was when I was really comfortable and felt like I was doing it right. And it's
Mm.
just it's so good. It feels
Oh, I'm
so
so
nice.
glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like your work-life balance was off, and then you started
Yes.
falling off the
Yes.
the pole.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It like it sneaks into every aspect of your life. If you're not
Exactly.
balanced, it's
Yeah.
yeah,
And I guess
that's a good
it's
point.
very, very visible, especially when you're doing some sort of physical exercise that requires a lot of focus to not injure
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Then it becomes even more present if you are like out of balance with everything
That's the
else.
thing. Like back then, I didn't realize that it was because of my balance was off because I was just like, for some reason, I just blamed myself and was like, oh, I've lost it. I can't do it anymore. Like, it's
Hmm.
my fault that I can't do it. I'm not strong enough or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, but now when I'm on the other side of it, I can see clearly that my mind was just, yeah, so
Mm.
distracted.
I love also the types of physical activity that makes you like when you have to focus like that.
Mm,
Even though like in those cases it can be like not so good if you're not able to focus because you can
yeah.
injure yourself
Yeah.
and get
Yeah,
scared.
there's a lot on the line in a way.
Yeah.
But also like when you're there, when you're actually like fully focused, it's kind of like meditation in a way. Because
Exactly.
you're so in it, you just have to like this is the only
Mm.
thing you can focus on.
Yeah. I did the same with martial arts or like with Krav
Yeah.
Maga.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily martial arts though. That's self-defense course, but
Mm,
it's like I did that for 5 years. I think many people, many of my followers, I think wouldn't have imagined that I have been doing
yeah.
like really brutal self-defense
And you were really good at it
stuff
too.
for many years. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I met Bendik too. But I just really remember that I loved about those types of things that I could not be out of focus there because then somebody would hit me in the face, because
Yeah.
if you're fighting and you're not focused, like
Yeah,
then
you're
everything
gonna.
goes out the window. So you really just have to be focused. And also, even if I weren't focused, like then somebody hits me in the face and I'm there, like I'm
Yeah,
focused.
yeah. Then you have to be
Yeah, then I'm like,
focused.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, snap out of it.
This
Yeah,
is where I am. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I just got scared, honestly. Like when I
yeah.
started
Of
hurting
course.
myself a little bit, it was kind of like I was scared to get back in the saddle. I was scared to like do it again because I felt like I couldn't trust myself in a way.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that makes sense. I
yeah,
think it sounds like you can get really badly injured as well, since you're quite high up as well. So
mm,
it's definitely scary. Is important.
yeah. The poles that we use are 4 meters high.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
intense.
So it's not just like a normal ceiling height. It's
Yeah,
like the
yeah, yeah.
double.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I recently learned how to do a drop. So that's when you climb to the top of the pole, like all the
Yeah.
way up to the roof or to the ceiling. And then you have your legs and you just let go. You just let go of everything. And then you have to squeeze into the pole again. And so you get that really
Wow.
high pitched scream from his skin just rubbing against the pole. So it's kind of
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh, yeah, you like I have bruises on the back of my legs right now.
That sounds
Yeah,
intense.
but
You're
it's
really
so much
tough
fun.
though. It's so cool. It's so cool that you're doing this.
Yeah, yeah, it felt kind of like when I talk about pole fitness, it's always a little bit of a weird topic because I feel like a lot of people have their like thoughts about what pole is. Like it's like,
Hmm.
oh, you're a stripper then, and I'm like, no, 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 no. But it's
Hmm.
very empowering, not because it's sensual, because it's not sensual really. It's more like acrobatics. It
Yeah,
feels more like a Cirque du
it is.
Soleil type thing.
Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
I think people don't understand that when they haven't tried it themselves.
Mm.
So much about being strong and acrobatic and not so much about the
Yeah,
stripping
it's
part.
not.
You're not doing
Yeah,
any
yeah, yeah.
stripping. You're just
No.
climbing and doing acrobatics on a pole,
Yeah. Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
dance as well.
It's dance, yeah. Trying to get better at that part of it, but that's the most like uncomfortable thing for me is the
Yeah, yeah.
dancing because I don't have rhythm at all.
It's like it's gonna be better after a while though. I think that
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
learned. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. What about you?
I just have to let my cat in. Sorry.
Oh yeah, of
It's
course.
like looking at me through the window really angry.
Oh
Sorry. He's just very
no.
stubborn when he starts wanting to get in. He just sits there and
Yeah, yeah,
meows in the
yeah.
window for ages until I
Yeah, I saw that you were
give
looking
in.
at something. I was like,
I was like, okay, if I just ignore.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, what were you asking?
Oh
Sorry.
yeah. What was your day like yesterday?
It was really good too. I had a very not so work focused day. So speaking of the
Nice.
speaking of having some time to just have a normal day, I
Yeah.
felt like
Focused on
today or
life
yesterday was
instead.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like we have had this plan for ages now to plant some seeds and stuff and do stuff in the garden. And it's just been like, April is basically the month where you do these things. So actually, the whole April, I was thinking we need to do that. And I was thinking, oh, we need to plant the seeds now. Otherwise, it's not going to be time for it. And
Mm.
just like, yeah, I just never had the time just looking at them every day and being
Yeah.
like, yeah, I can't do that today either.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yesterday we finally managed to have some time for it. It was really nice. So we did actually that almost the whole day.
So it's not too late to plant them now, right?
I think maybe a bit too late, but it's like some of them I think is still going to be better to plant them inside now and then plant them outside later. But I think we're a
Mm.
bit late.
Mm.
But we're still going to just try because we're still learning about gardening and stuff and
Yeah.
growing
Yeah.
things.
Me and my partner also bought some plant seeds, some flower seeds for our outside area. And I was
Hmm.
thinking we just bought some earth because we wanted to some yeah some
Soil.
soil earth.
Yeah.
We wanted to like dig and just like give it some fresh soil.
Yeah,
And I was thinking about it like, do you really plant seeds in May? Because I feel like it's more like an April thing. But
for sure.
yeah,
But you can
Oh
see on
well.
the label on it though. Sometimes it says if you're supposed to plant it inside in May. Some
Mm.
plants you can do that. So
Yeah. Okay.
so now we have a
Yeah.
full table in the living room with plants and pots and soil and stuff, and it's nice.
Oh, that's
Mm.
so nice.
Yeah, and then I edited a Patreon video, put that up on
Cool.
my Patreon page, and
Yay.
but it was just like all of those things are just nice to have done and just be
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was nice to be outside also, warm.
Oh. Yeah, it's
Mm.
really nice weather in Bergen today. It's so sunny.
Oh, and you're gonna
Yeah.
stay in your shop for a long time.
Yes. Yes. In this dark cave.
You brought Boomy today, so we both
Yeah.
brought our pets
Our
today
pets. Yeah.
to the
My
podcasting.
my dog is sleeping in the corner in the shop, so
Yeah,
he's knocked out.
it's a bit more chill than Flint, I guess,
I mean, he's
today.
a lot older too.
Yeah.
He's an
He
old
is.
man.
He didn't used to be that chill, I remember, when he was
No,
younger.
no, no. Like only like 3 years ago, he was crazy. It was a little bit too much, but now he's just the chillest.
Hmm.
A little bit too chill. Like today,
Yeah.
that I plan to because I walk him over the mountains from my home to work, and like when I don't have Boomy, it takes me 45 minutes. With Boomy now, I think I have to plan like 2 hours, 2 hours hike, just
Yeah, it's
because
the
he's getting a
double.
little bit slow. He has to smell everything, and I don't want to be like nagging him to like keep it moving because he is a little bit slower now. So I want to
Hmm.
give him the time that he needs. But 2 hours is
Yeah.
kind of long.
Yeah. It's just imagine him in his head. He's like I am just trying to be present, mom. Like
Yeah, yeah. I'm just being
smell these
mindful.
flowers.
Yeah.
There's an interesting flower to this ditch. Come on. Just
You have to
just take
smell
a
this,
break.
mom. Yeah.
You're so intense. You're always just hurrying off to work instead of just like experiencing the world around you.
He's just like a guru now, just like,
Yeah,
ah.
yeah. It's trying to teach you something.
Yeah, I should stop and smell the flowers too. But
Yeah, you don't always have the time for
we
that.
had
So
a date though, Maria. I was late for my date. Boomy made
yeah.
me late.
It's kind of related to something that I wanted to ask you because it's nice you walk over the mountains to your shop when you have your days in the shop. And generally, just to say that first, it's just like I'm kind of jealous of that. I just said that to Anna that it's such a beautiful thing to be walking like over the mountains to work, and then it's like you're starting in like not the city but the outskirts of the city
Hmm.
of Bergen, and then you're going into the mountains and you end up in the city center, which is like
Yes.
what it's so strange like that it's even possible. I feel
Yeah,
like
that's
Bergen is
that's the
such
magic of
a
Bergen, I feel like, because
yeah.
it is like a very, very like the city is very city like, but
Mhm.
just like a few minutes of walking, you're in the forest, in nature, up in the mountains. It's not like it's so
Mm.
close. It's
It
so close
is.
to the
It
city.
is.
So you can
So
have
crazy.
both.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you if it's like the because you have a different thing from me. I feel like that you have this physical place that is very important to your work and where you have like your opening hours and it's more specific like I'm there from then to then and there's
Mm.
a specific time when you're supposed to be there. I was just wondering if you feel like this having this physical place is important to your work life balance or if it's making it worse or better or do you
Yeah.
feel like there is anything there like
Absolutely. I was actually talking to my boyfriend about this yesterday.
mm,
When we went for our evening walk, I talked about our podcast, like our part one,
mm,
and how I understand why it's so hard for you to have a work life balance because you
mm,
film like different times of the day. It's not just like from 9 to 5, it's whenever like something interesting happens or when it's something extra beautiful happening in nature.
yeah,
Like it can be in the evening, it can be like in the early morning, it can be whenever.
mm,
But for me, since I have this shop that is my work. It's become like, this is my work, my workspace.
Mm. Mm.
And I get here at a time and I leave here at a time, and then
Mm.
my kind of workday is over. So I try to
Yeah.
do whatever I need to do, like answering emails, um, like doing all the paperwork, doing taxes, doing social media. I do that when I'm here.
Mm.
So then I sort of get it all compacted into a specific time of day. So when I go home, like after 5 or after 4, I can do my own things. And that's also when I realized that painting for me still hasn't become like work. So
Mm.
the painting process is very much still like something I love doing, and it doesn't feel like work. Especially now
Mm.
that I do it in a different way than I did earlier this year. Now that I can like really enjoy the process and I don't have to rush it. It's just like after I can put so many hours into this painting that I'm working on right now, because I know that it
Mm.
doesn't have to be finished by summer.
Nice.
So right now it's really, really nice. And that's when I feel like I can paint after work, because it doesn't feel like work. It's not working in that way. Um,
Mm.
but it's
So you
really
have
nice.
sometimes, so you do paint sometimes after you
Sometimes,
finished in the shop. Mm.
yes, yeah. But I don't do the technical things of the shop. Like I don't answer emails. I'm not
Mm.
available for work related things on social media or like Messenger or anything like
Mm.
that. That's cut off, because after I'm finished here, I'm off work. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
you have to
smart.
wait
That's really
till the next
smart.
day. Yeah.
Mm. Does it feel
So
like it's kind of a safe space as well for you, the shop, or do you feel more
yes,
like it's I
right
don't
now
know.
it feels really good.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's still a scary thing, because I know that I'm doing this alone. It's not.
Mm.
I don't have two other people to rely on for either actually just working the shop, minding the shop, or the like economics of it, like the money,
Yeah.
money, money part, the bills. So when it comes to that, it's of course like it's a little bit more responsibility.
Mm.
But right now it feels really good. It feels like this is the right thing for me, and it doesn't drain me. And I feel like that's the most important thing, that it really doesn't drain me at all yet. So
Mm. I'm
yeah,
glad. That's really
yeah.
nice. Did you feel like it was like did you feel in the pandemic, because then you guys had to close the shop for a while?
Yeah.
Did you feel like that changed your work-life balance for the
Oh,
worse or for the better?
that's a good question, because I don't think my work-life balance was very good before the pandemic.
Okay, so that is maybe
Um,
difficult to answer.
yeah, I feel like it was kind of messed up before the pandemic. I sort of just didn't have structure at all, to be
Hmm.
honest.
Hmm.
Um, and through the pandemic, it kind of, I didn't paint a lot, I didn't post a lot. So I don't think I had any good work life balance there either. But it felt kind of, the whole the whole period was just a fog. It's still just a fog for me. I
Yeah.
don't remember a
Hmm.
lot from the last, like the 2 years in pandemic time. It's just, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but when I got back, like when the world started getting back to normal, that's when I felt like, okay, I'm going to start this off right. I'm gonna do it right this time, because I
Hmm.
knew that like through the pandemic, I sort of got out of a pretty bad depression at the end of the pandemic.
Hmm.
And I think that helped me, just like, okay, now I need to get some structure into my life. I need to take care of myself a lot more, because now
Yeah.
I'm kind of out of it. I'm out of the rough parts. So now I
Hmm.
need to like maintain this good this good situation I'm in right now.
Yeah. I remember that too.
Yeah.
It was strange because I felt in a sense that there were some parts of the pandemic that felt nice also, that things slowed down a bit in a way.
I think I needed the break in a way, and the
Mm.
pandemic sort of just gave me an excuse to take a step back
Mm.
and reassess what was going on and what I actually needed. But it took
Yeah.
a while to actually like get the positive out of taking a break.
Yeah. Was it
Um,
scary also, just
yeah,
not knowing
very
how to earn money and stuff?
well. In the beginning, since I was kind of depressed, I
Hmm.
didn't really
Yeah.
care in the beginning because I didn't care about anything at the time. It was kind of
Hmm.
like everything was a little bit whatever, and then it's sort of when it dawned on me that oh, this can actually last like a long time. This can put me out of work for years. Then I sort of
Hmm.
got a little bit stressed out. So
Yeah.
now it's really nice to feel like things are slowly getting back to normal.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like that
Yeah.
too. And I mean, it's, I just feel like it's so different for everyone how that type, like how that period went and how that period was.
Mm,
And I feel very grateful myself for just, it didn't really affect my work that much. And
no.
generally, I was doing okay. I know so many
Yeah.
people were struggling so much more. So I'm just, yeah.
Mm,
But I'm just curious because I know that happened to many people that have their own shop and
mm,
that do this work in a physical place where they sell their things. It became so much more scary to not
yeah.
have a place to actually sell your work.
It sort of made me realize that I should promote my web shop more and that I
Mm,
should have some kind of like side income in some kind of way, or that I should be more comfortable doing commissions. Because I
yeah.
started doing commissions over the pandemic. So I did like a little bit of side work, but not enough to like be
Mm,
comfortable. So
yeah.
so it made me kind of wake up to the realization that the shop can't be everything. It can't be
Oh,
my only income.
yeah. I get that, and I get that feeling too. I have that sometimes too when I'm like not sure if I'm gonna get any tours with the cultural school bag for the next year,
Yeah.
and I'm suddenly in this crisis. Like, oh, like
Yeah.
all these other things that I do are making me some money, but not nearly enough to sustain my life here. So I was just
Yeah.
like, this year too, I was like, oh no, what do I do if it doesn't work out? Like,
Mm,
yeah. But I
yeah.
luckily it did work out. So
It did
another
work out for
year,
both of us. Yeah.
yeah,
We
we're good
survived.
now.
Yeah.
We
But
survived.
but I know that a lot of people are having some like after effects from the pandemic as well. Like some yeah, but it's still there in a lot of people, and I feel like it's probably like it's changed a lot of people
Yeah, it has.
just yeah, just by default,
Mm,
just by being a lot by yourself
yeah.
in a way.
Mm.
Yeah.
I felt like I had this very antisocial period before almost the pandemic started, and then
Yeah.
I was in a sense lucky because I had just started writing my masters. So
Yeah.
I didn't really have any work. I was still studying, so I could just sit at home and write, and it would have been the
Yeah.
same if there was a pandemic or not for me. So in a sense, it didn't change that much. But I just feel like what I realized afterwards is just like how important it is for me to be social. I was in this thing where I was like, yeah, but it's nice not to be so social all the time. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, yeah, I guess we're not social then. And in a way, it was like it was also when we moved to this town. So,
Yeah.
but then eventually, I just started to realize like how sad it actually made me to not have any friends here, and
Oh.
how difficult it was to get friends here. So
Mm.
I was so glad for the few people that we met in the beginning, that we are still friends with, that were really like lifesavers in the beginning.
Yeah. I
Because the
think
work
I
I do is at home as well, like I don't
yeah,
have any
that's
colleagues.
true.
I don't have any Skype meetings with colleagues or anything.
No.
It's just like me alone, and if there's nothing else, no other people, I think just, yeah, referring back to the work life balance, like I need to meet people to create this balance in my life, because that's,
Mm.
yeah, it really helps me to create this balance.
I think it's fascinating though, because for me it was the other way around. Because before the pandemic, I had been working the Christmas market in Bergen in December. So I had gotten a lot, like every time I've been to the Christmas market in Bergen, like the biggest one, I feel burned out for the whole of January. I'm just
Yeah, I
like,
remember that. Oh, can I say one thing about that Christmas market that I just
yeah,
felt like was making, I would just feel like it made me insane just being there visiting you
yeah,
guys. It was just like they were always playing music,
yeah.
and they were
And
playing the same
it's like a
music.
playlist of 20 songs that are on
Yeah,
repeat, and then
same
you have to
Christmas
stay there.
music.
Yeah, and
And
10 hours at a time we had to stand there. And you don't have any place to go. You're just, yeah.
and there's
We
the
j-
same music all over the market. It's
yes.
not even like you can go into another place and there will be something else. It's just like the speakers are
Yep.
everywhere, you know?
You go
And yeah,
crazy.
like visiting there, it's cozy and all that, but you know, you get tired of the same Christmas
Mm,
music after just 1 hour. And I just
yeah.
remember thinking like, oh my God, these my friends here are gonna stay here for 8 hours
I
listening
remember
to this music.
I would just go home and just lay on the floor on my bathroom and just cry. It was so
Oh.
tiring. Yeah, and it was just draining.
Mm,
So like in January, I would just like be all like really burned out, just really tired from people.
mm,
But also like just the work is very social. So like being in the shop, I meet people every day. It's just like always new faces, always new conversations every day.
mm,
And in January, February of 2020, I had lived in a collective with two other people. One of them is my boyfriend now,
yeah.
but those two people moved out of the collective. So I stayed
Mm,
back in the collective, like I stayed there after they moved out. And before like all of this, I would be hyper social because I was in a weird place where I just felt like I needed people around me all the time. I needed to like,
mm,
yeah, I was very much like almost kind of anxious about being alone. I
yeah.
hated being alone and in my
Mm,
with myself, like my own company.
mhm.
So then my two like roommates moved out, and then the pandemic hit in March.
Yeah,
So
that's true. The
yeah, so
timing, wow.
I went from being hyper social for a pretty long time to just being isolated by myself for the first time. I had never lived
Mm,
alone, like completely alone, and suddenly I was like in this big apartment all alone, no other people.
yeah.
And it freaked me out in the beginning, but looking back at it now, I love my own company. I'm so
Mm,
comfortable being alone, and I'm so much better at knowing when I need socializing, when I need to be around other
mm,
people, and it's a
mm.
lot less than I thought.
Yeah.
So so
Yes, that's
I've
funny.
gone from being like a kind of obsessed with being around other people person before the
Mm.
pandemic to just almost never seeing other people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny. I remember that, like, since we've known each other for a long time, I remember
yeah.
that you said once that you don't ever like being alone.
Oh, but
And I
now I
remember that
do.
was like so crazy to me, honestly, that time, because I remember, because I've been so much alone, like my childhood and everything. It's just
Yeah,
been normal for me to just hang out by myself. So I was just like, wow, like how
yeah,
does that
yeah,
even
yeah.
work? Like,
It
so, but I
doesn't.
understand
It
it.
really
I
doesn't.
understand. Yeah, it doesn't really work. It's
Yeah,
usually some sort of anxiousness, I guess, when
yeah.
it's like that. And I feel I understand though the feeling that you had also, because I can have that feeling myself as well, when it's like it's almost like sometimes I'm with someone and then it's nice and we have a good conversation and we have a good time and that stuff, but then the person leaves and I start like thinking about maybe all the things I might have said wrong or something like that, and I
Yeah.
start getting really anxious, especially if I'm really tired already, and then
Mm.
I almost just want to meet another person just to kind of
Just
numb,
like distract yourself from
yeah, from the
all the
other
thoughts.
person that
Yeah.
stressed me out. Then I want to meet someone new to just like hang out with them and then numb the anxiousness from the other
Yeah,
encounter.
yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah.
sometimes that can just go on for a whole day, like the next person, then I'm anxious after that as well, because it's just because I'm stressed
Yeah.
already, and then it doesn't really have anything to do with the people. Or so yeah, I can get into those loops myself too
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes, but
yeah.
it's more like a rare thing. And yeah,
Mm.
really, it's really, I'm really glad that you managed to find like your joy with being in your own company, because I feel like it's so important to be
It
able to have
really
that.
is.
It's
It
a
really,
security,
really
you
is.
know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because especially since you are the person you're going to spend your life with.
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
only certainty, is that like it's me for life.
Hmm.
So
It
I
is.
should be comfortable around me.
Yeah. Exactly. It's
Yeah.
that easy, but
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
difficult as well
Yeah.
sometimes. Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like I felt like I got that space and that alone time from just moving out of the city
Mm.
myself. But now I have a lot of friends here, so it's starting to become
Yeah.
a thing here as well.
Yeah.
But I like that though. I really felt like it was, I don't know. I think I like being alone, but I realized also that when you live in a place where you don't know almost anyone and you just come and go and people don't even know that you're there,
Mm.
starts to become lonely in a different way. Like you don't really
Yeah.
belong there almost.
Mm.
And I
It doesn't
really
feel
feel
like
like I
home.
belong now. That
Yeah.
some people miss me when I'm gone, and
Oh, yeah.
people notice when I'm back, and it's nice. I feel like I belong here a bit more now.
Oh, that's nice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you though, like that's a very different topic, but when you realized, because you talked a bit about that now, that after the pandemic and after having come out of a depression, you kind of started to feel like you needed to make a change to
Mm.
create a better balance in your life and better structures. But I just wondered, like, where did you start? Like, what, if you were gonna give advice to someone who was in that position themselves, like, where would you start? You don't have to give
Wow.
advice either. I know everyone is different, but I mean, like, how did
Yeah.
you do it? I guess.
Well, I started with social media because I did like a rehab from social media. I know
we're back.
it
We're back with
always
social
goes back
media.
to, I know, but
Wow.
but that's the thing
Yeah.
too. Like for me, social media was a big factor in how I was feeling, and I knew that. So
Yeah.
if Instagram doesn't have a big factor in how you're feeling, your mental health, it's not an issue. But for me,
Yeah.
it was. And I
Hmm.
think it was the collection of just like the pressure of still being active and maintaining some kind of growth, because I had a pretty like fast growth on Instagram. And then when I got really depressed and like everything sort of stopped in my life because I couldn't handle all the things that was happening to me. When I was trying to like get back into Instagram, it just felt I just felt like really, really anxious. Like my heartbeat would like get really bad, and it was just
Hmm.
not a good thing. I knew that physically and mentally it was a good thing for me. So I did
Hmm.
like a short Instagram rehab. And for me it's so silly because like just a few years ago I would have said just shut up about this, but working
Hmm.
out or doing something physical really changed a lot for me. So
Yeah.
just finding some kind of physical outlet. It could just be like dancing around your apartment. It could be
Hmm.
jogging. It could be hula hooping. it can be. Like I do bouldering and I do pole fitness, but finding
Yeah.
that thing that you feel like, oh, this makes me feel so good. And if you like going
Mm.
to the gym, go to the gym. That's not for me, but if that's something you feel like, oh, this feels amazing for me, do it. Anything that is a little bit physical, like
Try
the
martial
funny,
arts,
yeah,
kayaking.
the
I don't
funny
know.
thing is, I think it started my physical journey started actually because I wanted to learn K-pop choreos. I wanted to learn like how they danced. So I did that like at
Love
home
that.
during the pandemic, like, ooh, I'm gonna learn like K-pop dance moves.
Yeah, you
And
started
that's how,
shuffling and stuff, right?
yeah, I started
Yeah, yeah.
shuffling,
Mm.
and from that, like I got a little bit more confidence about being physical, and then I started bouldering with my boyfriend, and then I started pole fitness with another friend. And it's sort of that helped me just regain some kind of balance, because then I wanted to eat healthy because I wanted to get better at the craft I was trying to get better at. I needed to sleep well because I didn't want to be tired when I was going to go bouldering or do pole fitness. So it kind of like everything sort of came together around this joy that I found from something physical. And it doesn't have to be physical, but something that sort of it helps you want to be better and do better for
Mm.
yourself in a way.
It does.
Yeah. So like now I rarely drink because I go bouldering on Fridays and Sundays. So if I go
Mm.
out drinking on a Saturday, I will be hungover for a Sunday. I don't want to be
Mm.
hungover when I go bouldering. So
Mm.
it's sort of like everything just ties together in a way.
Yeah. It's nice, and I feel like I think it's also just the play of it. Maybe that's why I also say that maybe the gym doesn't have to be the place. I think for some people it's definitely very good, but it's
Mm,
also, if you can do something physical that just makes you happy and gives you that sense of play, I think that
mm.
helps so much with just the mood. And
Play is very important. I agree.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
it lets you like loosen up a bit and just let
Mm,
go of all that seriousness,
mm,
in a way, and it just makes things less scary in a way. I feel that
mm.
all the time. And I
Yeah.
think maybe when people are stressed, like when I'm stressed myself, I try to be even more, I go even more to the gym. I do even
Mm,
more training basically.
mm.
I just learned from my friend that it's not training, but it's like it's workout. But
Oh yeah.
but we say
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
trene in Norwegian.
It's
So
Triana.
I
Yeah.
sometimes say like training center, and it's not, it's not training center. It's
Yeah, yeah.
a gym.
It's a gym. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So, but I don't know. It's just I agree so much. It's so much fun to have
Mm,
something to do. I always felt like when I was doing Krav Maga as well, I did that for 5 years, many times a week, and it was just such a good way to keep myself balanced. It was
mm.
just so perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
feel like that was one of the major changes that sort of just balanced my life. But with the work balance, that didn't come until probably like I learned how to paint during the day,
Yes.
which is so weird to say because it's obvious that you can paint whenever. But for me, I had
Mm.
locked into my head that, oh, I can only paint at night, and like just getting a good schedule, because I figured out I was very opposed to the whole, oh, you need to wake up at 7 and do the like normal day routine, go to like
Mm.
wake up at 7, go to bed at 11. It's that kind of like the social norm, and I was very
Yeah.
opposed to that, like, oh, whatever, like whatever works for me. But I
Mm.
now understand a little bit more why that works for most people, because you get a lot of sun. You like it, it is easier to fit into a work life balance schedule when you fit
For
into
sure.
everyone else's schedule as well, kind
It
of.
is. It's really hard not to go
Yeah.
with society's, I don't
Yeah.
know, rhythm. It's really hard to go against that and still feel balanced. I
Mm.
still believe that people should do it though if they want to, and I do it myself because I
Absolutely.
sometimes need to film in the night. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially in the summertime, it's so beautiful outside, and then I'm just so happy that I'm not. one of those people that have to get
Yeah.
up in the morning. Then
Oh,
I can just
absolutely.
work all
Yeah.
night instead, and it's just so magical. But so I think there's a double sidedness to that. But I agree, like getting up early in the morning and just having a normal day, just like everyone else, answering emails when everyone else is at work and everything.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
kind of helps. It kind of helps just
It
to
kind
not
of
feel
makes you
such an outcast, you know?
yeah, it makes me feel more like, okay, I'm in control of things. Like I know what I'm doing. I'm doing the professional thing like everyone else
Yeah. And
in
you're
a
not
way.
always behind because I feel like we can feel very behind when
Yeah. When I
we
start
are
my
always
work
after.
at 10 at night, then it's like, oh, I have so
Mm,
much to catch up on. I have to
exactly.
like, yeah,
Mm. It's sad that it has to be like that though.
I know.
We wanted to like end this podcast with some like to just sum up like what type of work-life balance habits we
Mm,
like that we are doing right now, and
mm,
also what type of habits we would like to implement more.
yes.
And I thought that maybe if you want to join me on that, Anna, we could try to have a challenge. And
Okay.
until I think maybe until next time we record,
Uh,
we will have to do at least one of the things that we want to do to implement,
okay,
you know?
okay.
And
Yes.
then we will see how it went, you know? In the
Oh
next
my
episode, we
gosh.
can do a can do a
Yes,
check-in.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it doesn't have
I'm
to be
in.
perfect, you know, we're just to try it and just to be a bit more accountable for it.
We're going to at least do one of the things that we say we want to implement into our schedule.
Yeah.
All right.
You want to
Cool,
do
cool,
that?
cool, cool. Well, okay, so I can say a few things that I really like about my schedule already.
Mm-hmm.
First, um, I really like my social media schedule. Like that, I have a kind of like not a ban, but that I have my social media uh, usage. It's
Yeah,
like it's a drug, but yeah, that I
it
have my
is.
usage under control. That it is kind of like this works for me, and I think I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
it like this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that I feel like is one of my major, like my top habits that
Yeah.
it's really working.
Yeah.
Hmm, what else? And just not having my phone on me at all times. It's just like when I paint, just like not having my phone
Mm.
in the room. I feel like that's
Mm.
a small thing, but it makes a big impact in a way.
Yeah. Such a big
Um,
impact.
yeah, yeah, and
Mm.
just sleep, just sleep,
Sleep.
man. And social like quality time with people
Mm.
when you really like can be in the moment, because that's something too that since I have my work like during specific hours when I'm finished working, I can like my head can be focused on whatever it is I'm doing in the moment. I can be with friends or my partner and just be there because I know that my work is over. Like I'm done
Mm.
for the day.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I feel tempted to try some of those out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I like, I don't know. I don't even know. We're supposed to say three things. I'm confused because it's like there's so much irregularities
Yeah.
in my days that I'm almost like I don't even know. Like,
Do you think it's possible to actually like have a schedule as a YouTube creator?
yeah, for sure, it's probably possible, but I don't know. It depends on what type of videos you create, you know. Because if you're
Yeah.
just creating, not just, but if you are creating just sit down videos like this, almost, then I guess it's much easier to schedule things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick to not posting videos, or at least not forcing myself to post videos more than once a month, and
Mm.
just giving myself at least a week of not filming anything,
Mm.
which I'm usually doing after I've posted a video. I usually have like a week where I'm like forcing myself mentally to just
Ah.
not pick up my camera.
Yeah.
And people are confused by that because I think people that take pictures and just do it as a hobby, they're like, oh, but it's so beautiful. We should bring the camera for this walk in the mountains and
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
always like, you know, bringing my camera is almost not the same, but it's almost like bringing my phone for me
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes because it takes me out of it. I have to focus
Mm.
on filming and everything. So I'm just always like, no, we can leave the camera at home. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be without my camera.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I will stick to that as well. And I don't know, during the day, Bendik and I have started waking up at 8, mostly all days, which is
Mm,
really going well, I feel like. We've
yeah.
had times when we wake up at 11 and we go to bed like in the night,
Yeah.
sometimes around like 4, you know,
Yeah.
3 or 4. And we're just the same too. Like we both freelance and we both are like night owls, and
Hmm.
like I don't know, so it's been tricky to create this structure.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, we should get up at 5 every day, because I want to do that, early rise and just have this
Yeah.
beautiful morning looking at the sunrise and just drinking coffee in silence. It has been, I've loved those mornings. Like I still remember them so
Mm.
well, because it had been like dark in the beginning, and then especially in the winter we light the fire in the fireplace and we
Yeah.
just sit there
Oh.
with our coffee in the dark with the candle lights, and then we just look
Oh.
at the sun rising, and then we
Yeah.
start our day around like 8 with
Mm.
like work and stuff, and we feel so ready, for work at 8 because we're just been up since 5. I don't know, it
Yeah.
was it was beautiful, but it was not realistic. It was not
Oh,
realistic because
it's not
we
easy
have
to
other things.
maintain.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, he goes to like jujitsu training at 7 and lasts until 8, and then
Yeah.
supposed to go to bed at 9. Doesn't really work that way. So
No.
getting up at 8 is a nice in between. It's not
Mm.
very cool. The morning isn't like special in that sense that it was when it was at
No.
5, but it's
Yeah, because the
like,
sun is already up and it's yeah.
yeah, but it's still more like you said, like you're with society.
Mm.
You're sticking to the norm a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not being a
So I'll
rebel
stick to that.
anymore.
Yeah. I will be a rebel when the bright nights come along, though. Then
Yeah.
I flip everything around, but it's
Yeah, because I know that my sleeping schedule is also a lot thanks to my partner, because
mm,
he is like a going to bed early, waking up early type person. He is like that type A person. Um,
yeah.
and I like I could of course stay up late without him.
Mm,
I could do that, but there is something really nice about like waking up with someone at the same time, just
of
like being on
course.
the same schedule.
Mm,
So when he's out of town, when he's visiting his family, then of course there is this temptation to just stay up painting, and sometimes I do, and just like yeah, getting lost in the painting process at night. It's worth it. Like
it
sometimes,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say, or at least like talk about a little bit, just the downsides of having everything be super structured as well.
Mm,
Because I just feel like we've talked a lot about the good sides about structuring everything.
yeah.
And it is for sure like a way to keep yourself stable mentally. And it depends, of course, on the person how much you need of that structure. But I
Yeah.
also just wanted to say at the end of this podcast that I feel like there is a reason why I freelance, and that's actually because I want to have the freedom to
Mm,
structure my days differently if I need
yeah.
that, and change it all the time. I change my schedules and my structures with the seasons as well.
Mm,
And I love that I'm able to do that. I love that I can be up in the night
mm,
in the summers and be up really early in the mornings in the winter if I want that.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I just love that I can just stop working in the middle of the day and go out for a walk if I want to do that. And
Mm,
it's just like I love that freedom, and that's why I work as a freelancer. So for me,
yeah.
even though I need some better balance with it and sometimes it gets totally crazy, I just feel like I belong in this
Mm,
way of work. This is how I'm the most creative, and I think
yeah.
this is
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
I'm the most happy as well, even though I think I would have been happy with a very structured 9 to 5 job as well. It will still be like I would have still missed this
Yeah. The
freedom.
freedom. Yeah.
And I think the downsides for me, if I would be like super structured,
Yeah.
uh would have been that I would have felt like, why am I not just working a 9 to 5 job then? Because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
I wanted the freedom. That was why I wanted to work as my own boss and be self-employed.
yeah,
So it's like, it's also
yeah.
tricky, I think,
You can
to
get
balance
bored
that.
from the structure as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Ah, so bored. I
Mm.
feel I love the cultural school bag tours we do. I feel
Mm.
that my life has such a balance and a structure when I do that, but also at the end of it, I'm always just like longing for
Yeah,
the freedom of just not having to go to a specific place at a specific time if I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to. It's just,
I get
I
that
always feel so
absolutely.
lucky. I feel so grateful for my work and just for this freedom that I have at home.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's so individual. So like something that works for someone doesn't work for everyone,
Hmm.
and that's just the way it is. Like you have to find your own balance.
Mm, yeah,
Mm.
but I feel like we have a society that tells you that you have to have this structure, especially with all of this trend stuff that I was ranting about.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I feel like sometimes people are made to feel bad for not doing it the same way
Mm,
that it's supposed to be, and also because so much of our society is based on the 9 to 5.
mm.
Um,
I know what you
yeah.
mean with that kind of freedom that if you don't want to work, you can just choose not to work and then do it some other
Mm,
time. Yeah,
it's nice. It's such a luxury though. Like I feel
it is. Yeah,
so lucky with that. It's
I
just,
know.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, is this gonna, I don't know. It feels so lucky that I almost feel like it's not gonna last. It's not
Yes,
real.
it can't be true. You know,
It
it's
can't
too
be
good to be
true.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
funny
yeah.
because it's too good to be true in one way, and then as we also talked a lot about, it can be really, really tough as
Uncertain.
well. So
Yeah, a
I
lot
don't
of
know. It's just,
uncertainty.
it's not as rosy, I think, as a lot of people maybe
No.
believe that it is. And
Mm.
yeah, it has, there's a lot of, you have to have some self discipline for sure. Otherwise, it's
Oh,
going to be
absolutely.
very messy.
Yes, 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 yes. And so, what
Uh,
are the things that you want to implement into your schedule?
um, I want to choose one thing from, I want to choose one of those things that you do. I think I want to try to leave my phone more. I think that's because I was thinking about the thing that you said in the last episode as well, that you just go for a walk for many hours in the mountains without your phone.
Yeah,
And almost like how sad it made me feel that that would have been so strange for me not to have a podcast or anything.
isn't it weird?
It is weird. Like if I
Yeah,
bring my camera, I don't have the phone. Like I don't have a podcast
yeah,
as I'm filming, but then I'm
yeah,
filming. I'm working, so
yeah,
I always bring something. I always have like
yeah.
a thing, a goal, or something that I'm doing.
Mm.
So I want to not necessarily go for hours,
No,
hour
no,
long
no.
walks without my phone, but I will just like try to start leaving it behind a bit more because I notice that I'm just like every time I leave the room, I'm just like bringing it with me,
Yeah, it's like
and I just want to stop
attached.
doing that.
It's like
Yeah.
attached to you in a way. It's really weird. Like it was that for
Hmm.
me before too. Like every time I went for a walk with Boomy, I had my headset on and I was listening to music or a podcast. So it's quite recently that I started to just like walking without any sound. And the thing
Hmm.
is, like, there's always sound. Like nature is,
Yeah, I know.
but like even when I'm taking the bus and I see that 90% of the people on the bus is on their phone, and I'm just sitting there just looking out into plain air, and it's kind of like there's a sunset
Hmm.
outside of the window. It's beautiful, but no one is
Yeah.
really looking. And
Hmm.
like even though like I think that being bored is very, very good for creativity
For
because
sure.
when you're bored, that's when you get ideas. That's when your brain starts to figure out what can I entertain myself with, and
Hmm.
then like my best ideas come when I'm bored.
Yeah. I
So
feel like I don't really have the problem with ideas. I think I have too many. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think it works like that for a lot of visual artists. I feel
Mm,
like many people I know have the same thing.
mm,
Yeah, I remember like I didn't have, a smartphone before I was like maybe
yeah,
22.
right. So this is
Yeah.
still a new thing for you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like one of those people in the other generations than us that
Yeah.
have like not been. I don't know, but it's like Yeah, so I remember so well having that feeling all the time because I used to have a phone, but I didn't have like a smartphone. So it was, I could
Yeah,
call
yeah.
people, I could text people, but I couldn't do any internet related stuff.
Mm,
And I remember so well having the same feeling when I was looking at people on the bus. Everyone was on their phones. And especially when I was traveling in Asia too, I was
mm,
half a year traveling there without a smartphone.
mm,
And everyone else had a smartphone, obviously. And every time
mm.
we would get to a restaurant or a hostel, the first thing
Yeah,
they would do was to go on the Wi Fi
yeah,
and go on Instagram. And I just remember sitting at tables with people all the time, and they always had to do this round first, where they were
yeah,
just sitting on Instagram before they could socialize almost.
yeah,
And I was always sitting there just waiting for them to be done with Instagram because I was like, yeah, so how was your day? No.
yeah.
Okay. You don't want to talk? Okay. Yeah, so are we gonna are we gonna socialize, or is it like phone time, or I don't know. I was just so confused by the whole thing.
It's it's so weird.
And I didn't even have Instagram either before, like I think I was 23 maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's not that long ago.
yeah,
um yeah, it's just like always confused by the whole thing.
I know, and I'm
And
there
now I don't. And
now.
now I bring it for every time I leave a room. You know, it's
Yeah,
scary how fast you get addicted
yeah.
to
You
it.
get attached and you get used to having
Hmm.
that kind of screaming thing in your face.
Yeah, I got. I think there was a time, just like a few years ago now, or like not that long ago, but it's like where there would be someone close to me that was really struggling, and I just felt like I couldn't leave my phone
Yeah.
anywhere because I was so scared that they would call and
Mm,
there would be a crisis and I wouldn't be there.
mm,
So I think actually I haven't been as addicted to just bringing my phone everywhere until that time,
yeah.
because I just felt I couldn't turn it off at night either. I was just so scared that I wouldn't be there
Mm,
if something would have happened. So actually, I feel like it's still there, like this feeling that I just like I just when I'm gonna
yeah.
leave my phone somewhere, I feel this like feeling that it's like scary almost that something's
Mm,
going to happen and I'm not going to be there to help.
yeah, I get that.
So it was actually when I started bringing my phone in every room was that time. So I just feel
Oh,
like it's not necessarily anymore like it's so much less crisis and this
yeah,
person close to me is doing so much better, so it's not necessary, and I know I just need to just start leaving my phone in another room. Maybe it's
yeah.
actually going to be a bit healing, I realize now. Maybe
Yeah.
it's
But
almost like a trauma healing thing to
that's the
just
thing.
leave
It
the
is like
phone.
a traumatic experience that sort of probably just lingers. It's still like in your system in a way.
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
almost, yeah, I feel like it's going to be a really good thing to implement when I think about it now.
Wow. Oh, but this is going to be
Yeah.
exciting then if you're going to try this. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I think so too. What about
Oh.
you? What's going to be your
Ay, ay, ay. My big change can be a small
and
one.
you can't steal anyone from me because I didn't have any. Like,
The funny
yeah.
thing is, like in part one, you were ragging so much about people that do yoga in the morning. And I've been thinking a little bit like, oh, I want to do a little bit of yoga in the morning. I want to do some stretching.
Just to make sure that people don't hate me after this, I enjoy yoga myself and I
Yeah,
also take
I
part.
know,
I
I know.
understand that people like yoga. Please don't come after me. Yeah.
But it would be so typical if I like adopt the typical morning routine with like, okay, I'm gonna make a cup of tea, I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna do yoga,
Oh
I'm
my
gonna
god.
watch the sunrise.
I don't even know. Maybe we will have to end this podcast then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, but that's
So
nice. If you
so
want to do like a morning routine with meditation, then go
but I
for it.
think I don't think that's for me either. That's too much, honestly. Meditation is
Mm,
something I do when I feel like, okay, now I need to sit down and take a few minutes to just breathe and think.
yeah.
Um, but wow, this was a tough one. Like I wanted to give myself a little bit more freedom as well. in a
Hmm.
way. But since I am locked in, sort of like I go to work, I need to go to work at a specific time.
Hmm.
Um, but like we talked about before we started recording, I really want to implement a longer hike before work. I
Yeah.
want to like implement a proper like hike. So I'm
Hmm.
to do it like with a lot of time in mind, so that boom, it doesn't need to be rushed, and I can just take the time I need and then settle, because it's something that I'm going to need through the summer, is to get some sunshine before work, because it's dark in here. It's like a
Yeah.
tunnel. So I think that's something I really want to implement into my schedule, is just getting more sun before work, just like being outside a lot more before work.
That sounds great. So, how many out of the days that you're gonna go to work are you gonna do a longer hike then if you're gonna give yourself a challenge? Because you don't have to do every one of them, you know?
I'm going to do at least once a week that I
Nice.
do like a proper hike.
Good.
Yeah,
I think we have a
not
good
just
challenge then.
yeah. I think that's gonna work. I think my day is
Perfect.
going to be tomorrow, because it's going to be so sunny tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
Here too, I think it's gonna be. We have a festival in the town. It's a book
Oh,
festival.
oh, that's
So a lot of things
nice.
are happening. It's nice. We're gonna end this podcast here now with this challenge, and then we'll see next time if we remember to check in on it
Yeah. Oh, I
to
hope
see how it
so.
felt.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, then please let us know on Instagram. We don't have an
Yes.
Instagram for our podcast, but you can
Podcast.
text
Yeah.
us on our separate Instagrams.
Yes.
They will be linked in the show notes, I
Yes.
guess. Yeah.
Yay.
And thank you, Anna.
And thank you, Maria.
I love
I can't wait to
you.
see you. I can't wait to see you.
Oh, same.
Mm,
Oh, it's not long now. I look so much
yeah.
forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Have a nice week.
Yeah, you too. And you guys
Mm.
watching as well.
Yeah, everyone watching too. Bye.
Bye.